finding your joy in life is so hard for most of us that you want to stoke that just by folks walking into the space.
This is Grindset, where we go inside the minds of those that grind, celebrating and spotlighting entrepreneurship in Memphis. With your host, Dana James Mwangi and Williams Brack.
Welcome to Grindset, powered by Kadzukian and presented by Epicenter. I'm Dana James Mwangi, brand strategist and founder of Cheers Creative.
And I'm Williams Brack, owner of Building Bankable Businesses. And today we're here with Yo Clark, owner, practitioner at Anybody Yoga. Now, in the yoga industry, there are over 39,000 studios in the United States alone. Yoga and Pilates studios is a $9 billion industry and $84 billion globally. There are over 55,000 instructors in the U.S. alone. Over 36 million people practice yoga, and the average class size for any studio is around 15 to 20 people. Because I nerded out a little bit, I'll also add this final tidbit that the yoga mat industry is a $23.2 billion industry, or will be by 2027. So if you own a yoga studio and you're not at least selling mats or other merch, you're missing out on a huge revenue stream from your students.
Absolutely. I want to get into the yoga mat industry myself. I'm going to introduce our wonderful guest for today, and I'm going to read her bio. Yo Clark, from her first yoga class, Yolandria felt an instant shift in her total awareness and considers yoga to be perfect for simultaneous nourishment of the mind, body, and spirit. She enjoys sharing her passion for yoga with others, and with her welcoming and jovial personality, she employs a holistic approach to teaching by incorporating breath awareness, physical alignment, and yogic philosophy into each class. She has attended workshops with Rodney Yee, Cindy Lee, Jennifer Brilliant, Richard Freeman, Hart Laser, Shiva Ray.
Yeah, she was from Memphis, yeah.
Yes, and a serious student of the craft. Yo has studied with the late Sarla Nichols since 2002, and Yo is a ERYT 500 credentialed teacher and has been teaching since 2004. Now, this is another part of the bio that I really want you all to really listen and tune in on, because no matter what industry you're in, you're really going to get inspiration from this, okay? Yolandria has a bionic knee, and as a certified yoga therapist, she enjoys working with others who have had injuries and knee or other joint replacements. And Yo helps them to fully benefit from their yoga practice. Private yoga therapy sessions may be scheduled by emailing Yo at info@anybodyyogamemphis.com. One of Yo's favorite quotes is, "Yoga teaches us to cure what need not be endured and endure what cannot be cured."
Well, listen, Dana, I'll tell you one thing. There may be controversy about yoga and in some spaces in some parts of the world, but based on these industry statistics, based on my personal experience, and based on what I'm seeing from professional athletes around the world, yoga seems to be good for business, good for the body, and good for the soul. And we're going to discuss all these three things with Yo Clark after the break.
Grindset.
Looking to make your event unforgettable? Let Kadzukian handle all of your event production needs. At Kadzukian, we specialize in event production services that elevate every moment. From flawless sound to captivating visuals, we've got you covered. Make your event shine with Kadzukian. Contact us today at kadzukian.com or give us a call at 901-512-6767.
Welcome back to Grindset. We're here with Yo Clark, owner of Anybody Yoga. What services or practices of yoga can potential students expect from you in Anybody Yoga?
So Anybody Yoga, we practice primarily Hatha Yoga, which is a catch-all phrase, but we do alignment-based vinyasa and yin yoga are the two things, and basic meditation are what you'll find on our schedule regularly. Alignment based is a little slower, a little bit more purposeful, more of our foundation classes. Vinyasa, we try to build on that knowledge of foundation, but you move faster, right? Yin yoga is longer hold poses. So you may hold a pose for 5 minutes. Don't let that scare you, right? You just go a little deeper each time. And then on Thursday nights, I have a class I just call, it's kind of like bedtime for adults. It's all virtual. People get in their beds, they put their headphones on, and either I do just a basic guided meditation for sleep or we do a yoga nidra. Either way, they go to sleep and then they don't have to worry about turning anything off. When I turn the Zoom off, everything else is off. So those are the basic class. And then we have series. Like I teach a New to the Mat series if you're brand new, Friday evenings from 5:45 to 6:45. And then a continuing beginner series. That series usually focuses on something. It's 4 weeks as well. So we may do shoulders only for that week, or we may do chakras. We may do whatever the students decide that they want to cover or give me some ideas. I go with it and we just delve down into it and how it works with our yoga. Mix the yoga in with how to do that and maybe have better shoulders or stronger or more flexible shoulders.
I love how you're so intuitive and tuned in to what your students need. While you have your set classes and programs, yes, you are allowing them to co-create to a degree.
For me, community is it. The first yoga class that I went to, I didn't look like anybody up in there, not even close. But a lot of those women are still practicing, and men are still practicing with me to this day. They were there with my first yoga class when I opened the yoga studio. They are still there. They're like 78, 80 now, but they getting it.
Wow.
And community is it. Like I know when if something's, they all check on me. They check in on each other. Now that we have the virtual component, I've been able to meet people's animals. And when they hear my voice, the animals come in the room to get ready for the yoga class. It's really the funniest thing, but it's just joyous. Like we all create this community and we come in and we do our yoga class and then we go back out into the world and take that joy with us.
I love it. So, I have to ask you, what is the story behind the name Anybody Yoga?
I hadn't actually expected to open a yoga studio. It just all kind of fell in my lap when Midtown Yoga was going to close. I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to go find me a W-2. And my students
what's a W-2?
Good government job, not a 1099, not a self,
yeah.
But then my students were like, well, where you think you're going? And then literally people started bringing me this, I saw this building over here, I saw this, or I saw that. And I was like, well, y'all gonna come? Yes. So where we are now, I found on December 10th, 2018. And then the next day I had to go jury duty. And I thought, oh my. But I got dismissed from jury duty. By January 1st, we were able to put everything together. There was gray walls, concrete floor, nothing. Everything but the barn doors and the waves on the ceiling, everything was in place. I mean, we worked round the clock.
Who is we?
Glennis Cowles at GCD Interiors helped me. She's a longtime student friend, and she helped me put it all together. You'll see her work around town. She did Belly Acres. She did most all of Overland Square.
Oh, lovely.
The new hotel, Memphian, she did that. The zoo, she did that. She's a really nice person, and she helped me. And I was so nervous, and she would call me, and she'd say, you need a wall. No, I don't. You need a wall. I don't have any money, Glennis. Let me do my job. So, and she's like, let me help you. The way you help me, let me help you by doing what it is that I do. Because interior decoration was not my thing.
So is she a student?
Yes.
Okay.
She's still a student.
Wow.
So, again, I tell you, community, everything comes out of that. The painter came from a student. Daryl Cobbins helped me find the location.
Shout out to Daryl Cobbins.
Yes.
Shout out to Daryl.
So, and I was trying to figure out what about yoga is important to me. And what's important to me is that I believe that no matter who you are, you can practice some form of yoga. If you understand the mechanics of the posture, whether I'm on crutches or there's a young a gentleman who teaches in the Northeast who is in a wheelchair, you can still do yoga. You just have to understand the mechanics of it. I have a student who has cerebral palsy who comes sometimes, and she is a walker, right? We get in where we can get in. Right. And we do what we need to do to get the benefit of the posture. And I was like, So I just started playing around with words. And then I was like, anybody yoga. I liked that. And then I was like, well, let's play on some words where everybody is somebody. So separated out all those terms. And then it's like, well, what logo works? And I have always been a big fan of Karen stones, which is what they are. And then I thought, well, if I stack them where it looked like a little round black woman, that's me too. And then I put it all together, designed it, and showed it to some folks, and they were like, "You need to trademark that," which I did. So
lovely.
That's how I did all. It was very organic. I just started writing and playing around and putting things that brought me my joy, right? Putting them all together, and then there it is.
I can't get over the fact that, and I have to point this out now. I have to do it because the Brack teaches us everything about finance, everything about capital. But I see something that you just said. I don't want people to miss it. You built the business concept before you got the building.
Yes. Well, I didn't realize. Yes, that's correct.
You know how Olivia Pope, when she was on Scandal, she had what she called her gladiators over a cliff.
Yes.
These folks that followed you over a cliff, and you have one of the top, somebody on that level. Do you mind saying her name again?
Glennis Cowles.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Shout out to Glenn.
Yeah.
Glennis.
Somebody on that level, you don't just call them an interior designer. Right. That's an experience expert.
Yes.
Coming forth to help you birth this vision. It's one thing to have people say, you know what, you should be doing XYZ, but they had an expectancy that you would open a studio to keep this community going. I just think that's such an awesome story.
Forever grateful. I mean, I was like, she just showed up one day and I was like, hey, Glennis, what you doing? I'm trying to figure stuff out. I literally walked in, looked around. She's like, I'll be back tomorrow. And I was like, huh? And it's a beautiful space. You can see it on the website. It's a beautiful space. And the only thing I ask her to do is let me pick the colors. So the colors of the wall, the green is the color of is Anahata. It's the heart chakra. And that was important to me, that I have the openness, because the finding your joy in life is so hard for most of us, that you want to stoke that just by folks walking into the space. So,
well, and I have a different question about that, because what I know about interior design is that once they design it, it still costs money to put the paint on the walls, the furniture in there, and what you need for the space. How did you get the startup capital to go into business for yourself?
People started buying passes before I opened up.
Pre-sale.
Yes.
Oh. Did you all catch that? Did you all catch that? Pre-selling.
Now, see, I didn't even know that. They knew. I just said, they were like, is your website working? I'm like, it is. And the next thing I know, I was like, wait.
Before you make it, put it out there and see if people want it. And let people buy it, and then go make it according to what they said they wanted.
So I always tell people that before I do a workshop or before I put anything out, I've already checked in to make sure it's going to sell, because otherwise you end up with a tremendous waste of time. As far as workshops go, because you may think somebody wants something, but they don't.
So how do you make sure it's going to sell? What's your process?
I call folks, talk to them. I'm a
novel idea.
Right.
And say, what is it that you want? And my students are very honest. I love them. They love me. They'll tell me when we're first trying to get our sound together, they'll be like, if you step to the left, we can't hear you. But if you get on the ground, we can't hear you either. So just stand right. So it took me a long time to figure out how to put everything together because, Zoom was just a 70s TV show before COVID. Mm-hmm. But through them saying, no, try this, try that, we built this nice system now where, like I tell you, Tasha logged in from Cartagena one day. A student went to Spain, logged in and took class just like she was here. Mm-hmm. But I would not have been able to do any of that without the community itself willing to be honest with me about where everything is and then putting their 2 cents in and telling me where to go.
And then you being receptive to that feedback.
Yeah. That's key.
Yes. Yes.
And so virtually, have you gone all out or are you teaching yoga from a laptop screen or something?
No.
Or?
So the way we have it set up, I need to be able to see. So if you come to class and you're virtual, I still need, if you leave your camera on, you're going to get the same instruction. I need to see your parts and say, you need to move your foot to the left and move your foot to the right. So I have like a 70-foot screen TV on one end and then the camera and it pipes into the studio, and then I have students on either side of the wall, and I just move around. We used to have like 35 people deep in there, but you can't do that post COVID. It's just I'm surprised we got away with it before COVID, right? So now I cap it at 16, and then everybody else logs in on the flat screen, and we practice. They see each other, they talk to each other. I have a number of mother, daughters, or family members. Like one lady lives in Virginia. Her daughter lives here. They take the same class. They talk to each other. I've got sisters that do the same thing. So they use it as a family time, even though they're not even in the same state anymore, but they can take the same class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You truly are building community.
It's very important to me.
Well, we're going to talk about the benefits of that because you can build community, you can discuss family, you can do free work, but you still have to make money.
Yes.
And so we'll talk about the business of yoga and some of the hesitations to people who might be considering it but haven't joined yet. You're listening to Grindset, empowered by Kazukian and sponsored by Epicenter.
Grindset. Blues in the basement. Blues in the basement.
I was born in 71, so that was kind of the year that all of Al Green's hits starting to pop off.
Blues in the basement on the Kazukian Network.
Welcome to Grindset, and we are back with Yo Clark of Anybody Yoga. And I want to start this by telling you about a personal experience of mine regarding yoga and religion. When I was in college, I signed up for a yoga course. And I thought it was going to be great, a great release for me. I'm graduating this semester. I need some kind of release and some kind of way to relax. And, and that yoga class was really it for me. And I really enjoyed it. But I was getting a constant barrage of emails from people at my church saying that yoga is evil. Yoga is meaning that you're worshiping this, and that. Yoga is something that is separate from what we believe. And even though my body was thankful for the yoga, even though I enjoyed those 50 minutes every Monday of that class, I decided just to kind of put yoga down, and I haven't been back to it. And I think about it sometimes, and I know that my experience is not isolated. There's a lot of us in our community that want to practice it or don't have all the facts or anything. When it comes to yoga, what is your stance on where yoga fits within health and spirituality? Or
So, in my experience as teaching and owning the studio, I have encountered folks who are just like you. They come, they've had whatever, they've sciatic pain, whatever. All their stuff starts to clear up. They start to feel good, and then they just disappear. You know, I'm a phone caller, right? I'm not. I may text you, but I have direct communications with folks, and when you check in with them, I've had on more than one occasion where someone has said, "Well, Pastor said I can't come no more." And I mean, I can't. I'm not going to get in the way of what other people's beliefs are, but what I know is that for me, I've seen the note that has been going around the internet for years. I've never experienced any of that, so I don't even know what to even say about it. When I read the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of the books you read in yoga, it literally translates into the Song of the Lord. It talks about yoga or all religions or spirituality really leading back to the one source, and that source is God. That word is used, God. Many paths, one source. And the other thing that stuck out with me is it says that God meets you where you are. So if a yoga class is not where you need to meet God, then go meet God where you want to meet God. There's no way to get a person to be receptive to something until they release it in their own mind. I mean, it has to be something that you decide is okay, and then you experience it for yourself. But a lot of times we spend our time focusing on what other people's experiences are, and we don't ever realize what's going on in our own bodies or our own mind. I call it finding our own edges. It's one of the reasons that I truly love practicing yoga. It is one of the ways that you learn who you are. If you practice, you hit that mat on a regular basis, what you do again on that mat is what you do in life, right? And if you will find your edges there, it will help you so much in your regular life. Now, as far as what to do about Pastor saying yoga is evil, that's a question for Pastor, really. It's not ever been my experience. People come to class. We got all walks of life that come to class every day. I have Jewish students. I have Islam or Muslim students. I have Christians. I have atheists. We all come. We get on that mat. We do our thing. We love each other, and we move it on. And that's, to me, is all I have to offer, is that community of acceptance. I mean, that is more important to me than anything else in this world, that when people walk into any body yoga, that you feel free to be exactly who you are. Right? I will tell you a story about my students. I have one student, I haven't seen him in years now, but he used to come, and sometimes his name was John, sometimes his name was JC, sometimes his name was Joanna. We just didn't know. What we would do is wait until he signed in. And then one student would come up and go, "No, what's the name today?" And then they would go and they would greet John, Joanna, JC by whatever name.
That's so loving.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
And that's not something I asked them to do. They just did it naturally of themselves, right? And I think about that in how wonderful that is, that you can come and be all of who you are. And he was so conflicted. He would stay and talk to me after class, and I would just listen, right? This guy was like, at the time, 56 years old, and still having, he knew who he was, but he was afraid of what his mother thought. Yeah. And he's 56, but I get it. When I think about that, and the fact that folks that people can come and just be who they are, I think it makes a more peaceful existence in this world. If you can come, I am who I am, you are who you are, and we can go back into this world with a sense of community and peace, it makes for a much better place. So I guess the short end of that is I really don't delve on it when people come in and start trying to tell me that yoga is evil, as much as I just talk about my experiences here on the mat and in this space. Because I don't know what other people experience in other places. But I can tell you, when you walk into anybody yoga, that it is my sincere hope that you feel free to be who you are, Christian, Muslim, atheist, whatever.
And those spaces are very rare in this country and in this world.
They are. We're talking about accepting people from all different walks of life, and that also includes accessibility. You know, a lot of times we see ads for yoga products or gear, and it's the same type of body,
right? The
same type of person in the same house with that same floor plan,
right.
doing yoga, you know. But you know, we read your bio earlier, and we learned that you have a bionic knee.
Oh, I have I've got 2 metal knees and a fused spine.
Oh, wow.
All from going to work one day about 12 years ago.
Wow.
And I had been practicing yoga about 10 years then, and I'm grateful because what I knew was my body. So what I was able to do was to build around the newness of the implants in me and understanding how the muscles work to strengthen them. Because your doctors can only tell you so much, right? All school is theory. Application is something totally different.
Yep.
Like they don't tell you that when you get these titanium knees, that when you go to swim, I love to swim, you got to kick 50 times harder because it floats differently, right? It's not bone. So you learn those things by actually experiencing it. Also, so I learned how to accept all of the mechanical parts of me and how to use it. So I've had many people come to me and say, hey, I want to resume my yoga practice. But the first thing I always tell them to do is they have to talk to their doctor. I mean, you got to go. And some doctors will tell them that they can't practice. And there have been students who just totally ignore them and they do just fine. But I'm not that person. You got to get your medical clearance. I am not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. But if I can usually help you figure out the mechanics of your body and when in relation to whatever injury you have. And being able to still practice and to practice fully after my injury was a wonderful thing. And I wanted to be able to share that with other folks where I can.
So my tight hamstrings and bad ankles is not an excuse not to do yoga?
It is not. So here's what I always tell people who say, I'm just so tight. Blessed are the inflexible, for they're rarely bent out of shape.
Oh, that was so good. Yeah.
So, being a finance guy, I have to ask about money and business. And the one question I'll ask is, how has your need, your intentionality for building community led to a place where you can be financially comfortable in what you do?
Comfortable is probably a strong word, but especially after COVID.
Well, pre-COVID. Answer that question. Pre-COVID.
Well,
and then
pre-COVID,
post-COVID.
it was, gangbusters. The studio was full. We were talking about actually expanding maybe within the common there. I talked about doing some different gear, all of it, and then COVID hit. I mean, I closed the studio March 15th, 2020, for however long we had to be closed permanently. And then I was trying to figure out what are we going to do. And that's how we came up with the hybrid classes to keep everybody going. And then you got the PPP loans, which if I were a more mature business, it probably would have been a better thing, but I was new, right? You could only count so much revenue, right? And then you ended up having to get these other loans that somehow or another you didn't qualify for. So you get those, and a lot of them were tied to prime, which was 0 then, or 1. Now prime is double digits. So now you got the cost of capital that's increased astronomically, and you're trying to meet that without also raising prices, which the folks who've been with me have been with me for 10 years. The only price raise I did was when we switched our software. I raised drop-ins from $15 to $18, and everything else has been the same for that entire time frame. Volume is what has helped me do that, but now that volume has kind of sort of not leveled, but it's more erratic since COVID and especially since post-COVID. I was telling Brack that people have started traveling a lot, gone for 2 and 3 weeks at a time. And that impacts their ability to come into the studio, even if they can log in virtually. Some of them do, but they're not there as much as they normally have been. So I'm trying to maintain the cost structure without, because I have lots of teachers too, and they already have a lot of issues with trying to pay for their student stuff. I'm trying to maintain a reasonably priced experience for them. And that's hard right now.
Well, as we close, if someone's considering yoga, they're thinking about it, they might have a religious thought about it or religious reservation. They might have a physical reservation. They might even have a mental reservation. What would you say to those potential students about joining you in Anybody Yoga in their practice?
Come take a class. I promise you. It will change your life one way or another. I have been fortunate to be around some of the most loving, kind, and caring people, no matter what class you come in. And we'd love to have you. And if you want to come back, come back. And if you don't, we all right with that too.
That's right. And then can you close us out with a little bit of yoga calmness?
Okay. We're going to sit up nice and tall. All right, you want to align the crown of the head and the tailbone. Now look just past the tip of your nose and close your eyes. And just begin to watch your breath as it moves in and out of the body. The mind, by its very nature, will try to distract you. And when it does, bring your awareness back to the breath. Breathing in, breathing out, letting go. And as you focus on the breath, begin to inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 8. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Repeat. If it's hard to exhale through the nostrils, it's okay to exhale through the mouth. So when we double our exhalation, it sends a signal to our mind and to our parasympathetic nervous system that it's time to relax. So you can do this practice anywhere, anytime, even sitting at the light in your car. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yo, thank you for that slice of calmness.
Thank y'all for having me.
Slice of calmness is what we needed. If that is any indication of what we could experience in your practice, in your studio, everybody should go sign up, like right now. Thank you so much for imparting your wisdom. Thank you so much for imparting your story. We've learned so much.
Thank y'all for having me. This is my first podcast. Yay!
Yay, you did it.
Absolutely. You're listening to Grindset, and we'll be right back after the break.
Grindset. Riffing on jazz.
Just to name a few now.
Yeah.
Name a fruit. A fruit.
You had too much of that water.
What's in your water, Howard?
Riffing on jazz on the Kazukian Network.
Welcome back, and I am here with a couple of takeaways. And for those of you who are listening, I just want to tell you that we do these takeaways, these business takeaways, in front of our actual guests because we want them to see how good of teachers, how great they are at teaching from their experience. So I have 2 takeaways for you. Let's talk about getting the money before you make the product. It doesn't matter if you were launching a book. It does not matter if you're launching a t-shirt. Doesn't matter if you're launching a course, a program, or a new type of food. What you want to do is get the idea validated. In other words, do people really want this? And you can test to see if they want it by making it to where people can buy it. Then after you get enough sales, you know, I have a winner. We have a winner here with validating what this product should be. When you create things before finding out if people really want them, you can end up spending misspending a lot of time and resources on things that don't even serve you. So we want to stay away from that. And also to even do this, to sell before you make, what you have to do is allow the customers into the process of helping you create your business. So now the customers are now almost like partners in the business, and there's some ownership that they feel that they have. Yo talked about asking people what it is that they needed, and that would kind of dictate what the theme would be for a class or something along those lines. You want to always listen to your customer. Listen to what they say their challenges are, their fears, yes, but most of all, what their hopes and dreams are. What is the big picture for your customer when they describe what their biggest relief would be? And lastly, people are not coming to your business strictly for the building. They're coming for the experience inside the building. And that's what we learned with Yo and her business model, being able to start a studio, having students help her to create the experience that they would experience later. So this has been such an excellent lesson here in branding and finance and bootstrapping too.
You've been listening to Grindset. Namaste.
Grindset. Executive producer, Epicenter. Grindset is directed, produced, and distributed by Kadzukian.